Good Thursday afternoon to you. It's 4 o'clock and time for Sports4CLE. Thanks for joining us. Browns getting ready for a Thursday night showdown with the AFC North rivals from Pittsburgh. A game the Browns must win without question. Some news surrounding the roster. The Browns have activated Miller Forrestall, a tight end from the practice squad, as well as Chester Rogers. Expect Rogers to be back deep, returning punts, maybe on kickoffs. He is a guy that has done that for the Indianapolis Colts. He is a wide receiver, but likely to be involved in the return game. Before we get things rolling, let's listen up. Kevin Stefanski was mic'd up for that end of the Browns-Jets game that obviously didn't go the way anybody who is a Browns fan or Browns player, coach, or anybody thought it would. Let's listen in to the end of that game. Kevin Stefanski mic'd up.
Gives it to Chubb, takes it left, takes it outside, got the corner, 10, 5, cut back, touchdown!
It's a great feeling when they know you're going to run, you know you're going to run. Two scores, guys, two scores. They make chunks like crazy.
In the pocket, a lot of time, throws down the field, he's got a man wide open. Corey Davis caught it, and he's going in for a touchdown.
Handstand.
Braden Mann is going to be the guy. He squibs it near side, and it is loose, and it's loose. The Jets say they've got it.
Doesn't matter, it's great defense.
And it's down to 25 seconds left. Lux throws middle, caught, touchdown!
All right, that's disappointing as hell, okay? Disappointing as hell, but we're going to get in that locker room. We're going to all own it. Moving on.
With that, let's welcome in Quincy Carrier. Quincy, there was no panic. It was I was impressed with the way he handled it. He handled that better than I did, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, if he's not going to melt down under that, he's not going to ever melt down, right? That confirmed it to me. I'm like, what he does, the poise that he has is not a gimmick. It is 100% who he is. He is calm under fire. And look, it didn't work out this week, but you have a dude like that in enough pressure situations, I think what, 8 times out of 10, it's going to work out for you, right? Nobody's 100% in that moment. He wasn't 100% in that moment, but that's what you need to have success as a leader and a coach who's not going to be wasting time because you missed the onside kick recovery, not getting the call in or asking the defensive coordinator what they need to do, right? He's going to make sure that they're not wasting time arguing with each other on the headset instead of getting the play in, right? So, look, it's hard to appreciate it this week because they blew it. But just know, coaching like that, that's going to get you through over the hump, and especially here where weird stuff just happens,
Yeah, and forward thinking, was looking forward, wasn't worried about what had happened because you can't correct it. All right, we're going to head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about Nick Chubb not taking a knee, going into the end zone, something that I've said is so far down the problem list, it's not even worth thinking about. Here is the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hey, this is Av from Lexington, Kentucky. One thing that kind of bothers me is that you keep mentioning that this thing with Nick Chubb not going down before scoring that final touchdown is like really low on the list of problems with the Browns. I don't get that, because by not doing that, they actually lost the game. And if they would have run out the clock down there on the goal line, they would have won the game. And none of the other things would make any difference whatsoever. So I think it's a really big thing that they didn't do. And I blame the head coach for not knowing what to do in that situation. I think it's terrible. Thank you. Bye.
We're going to differ on these, and I want you to think of it this way. What has an offensive player tried to do? Offensive players try to get into the end zone and score. Nick Chubb did that. What does a defensive player try to do? He tries to keep people from getting in the end zone and scoring. Our defensive unit twice messed that up. Our special teams missed an extra point. Our special teams failed to cover an onside kick. So if you want to look in hindsight, sure, and Kevin Stefanski admitted that. In hindsight, sure, he would have told him that. But you're coaching around 2 of your 3 units. Nobody is going to do that. Nobody. I mean, come on. I'm sure if you asked Mrs. Lincoln, she wouldn't have said Abraham to the play that night either.
Yeah, all good points. And the one thing is like, okay, we're mad at the offense for being too good at offense. Like, did we think that was going to be the problem this year? Was, some people were going to be mad at the offense for being too good. That's basically what we're doing. They were too good on Sunday. Come on. And also, people forget the 2-minute warning either had just happened or was about to happen at that moment. So you wouldn't have ran the clock down as much as people think. You would have still gave them the ball back with like 40, 50 seconds left. Let's say you don't score because you go down and take a knee and then you kick a field goal and Kate York misses that field goal. Or you make the field goal, you go up 10 and this still happens to you, right? Like, it did not take the Jets much time there. The problem isn't that they scored the touchdown and gave the ball back. The problem is the 2 touchdowns that happened in 80 seconds. That's the problem. Anybody trying to tell you this is on anybody else other than the people who gave up and were responsible for 2 touchdowns in 80 seconds with no timeouts to a 37-year-old Joe Flacco is looking to reasons to blame either Kevin Stefanski or this offense. That's a ridiculous thing to do. 80 seconds. You had 80 seconds to play solid defense and only allow 1 touchdown, Dave. They only had to allow 1 touchdown. That's it. They could have given up a touchdown. They would have been all right. You know what I mean? They could have did their job poorly, and they could have still done all right in that situation. They were up 13 points. It should not have mattered if Nick Chubb scored that touchdown. And it's this incredible game of hindsight that people love to play after a game that's unfair to everything that while it's happening in real time, because I promise you that dude was cheering when Nick Chubb scored the touchdown. He wasn't thinking, oh man, that's a travesty, we didn't kneel the ball down. No, he wasn't thinking that in a moment, but he wants everybody else to be thinking that, and that's ridiculous. Kevin Stefanski can't tell the future. He can't tell the future.
That's also a loser's mentality. You go out, you take a knee because you don't think your team is good enough to hold on to a 14-point lead. That's a loser's mentality. And again, I appreciate all the voicemails. You'll never convince me that Nick Chubb should not have tried to score a touchdown. Never. Not happening.
Let's keep it real, Dave.
Yeah.
The best part of this team is supposed to be the defense.
Right.
You're supposed to be thinking, we're up 14 points. We got Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward on that side. We're good, right? That you're not supposed to be thinking this is an abysmal defense. This is not 2020. This is not 2019. These are not those abysmal defenses they were sending out there. These guys are well qualified, and they just embarrassed themselves defensively. That's it. That's it. I don't blame Kevin Stefanski for thinking that Myles Garrett and this defense could stop a team from scoring 14 points in less than 80 seconds.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, let's take a look at this. So the Browns defense that we've talked about has allowed 21 points in 6 total first to third quarters this season. And they've allowed 34 in 2 fourth quarters. And if you broke it down inside of 2 minutes, it'd be pretty close to that 34. Again, you got to get it done. You got to close out games. That one falls on the defense. And really, the Carolina game, the defense broke down as well.
Anytime they go up by 10, they let the gas off the pedal, right? And I don't think it's just the play calling, because the play calling is not any different, right? I think it's a mentality within them, right? I think this was a wake-up call for them because they know they're a very talented unit. They look around, they see the talent on that defense, and they think, oh, we're up by 10, this is over, right? So they kind of relax a little bit instead of focusing in and locking in and closing these games. This is the biggest wake-up call you can have, right? Now you know you can lose this game to a much worse opponent, a team that has no business beating you because you decided to doze off mentally. They got away with it in Carolina. They did not get away with it against New York. Now, we'll see how they respond, but that's the wake-up call. They're way too talented, way too good of a unit to keep falling asleep whenever the Browns secure these leads up.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's take a look. Pro Football Focus. Highest graded defenders in the NFL by position. Highest graded linebacker is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, 91.4. The guy to keep an eye on tonight, the highest graded safety, Minka Fitzpatrick, 90.8. And you've heard Jacoby Brissett saying he's gonna be aware of where he is and he needs to be. That is a guy that has wrecked some pretty good offenses over the past few games here.
Yeah, Minka's a ball hog. And look, he had a bad year last year, but he's back to being Minka Fitzpatrick. He's excellent. 2 interceptions so far, one for a pick six in Cincinnati. He's a dude that'll get you. And they're going to play a lot of cover one today. That's where he's really tricky. If I'm Jacoby, you got to know. I mean, like, point out the mic and then point out Minka. Like that. That's almost important as pointing out the mic for him today.
The mic and the Minka. All right. Quincy, Kara, and I are going to step aside, take a quick time out. We'll head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Take a look at some next-gen stats as well. Sports4CLE will be right back. Stay with us.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame celebrates the star athletes and notable sports figures who were born or have made their home in Greater Cleveland. It tells the story of discipline, commitment, perseverance, sportsmanship, and excellence in achievement. It encourages and inspires those who believe in sport and its direct impact on the well-being of our community. Go to clevelandsportshall.com or follow us on Twitter at GCLE Sports HOF for more details.
We continue talking Browns with Quincy Carrier. Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about Browns defense.
Hi, Steve Lannon. Just wondered if the Browns defense, at least for one game, could try going man-to-man instead of zone. It just doesn't seem like the zone thing's working out at all. And maybe the man-to-man will not either. But just wondering what you thought about that. Thanks. Love the show.
Appreciate all the voicemails. Quincy, what's your thoughts? Do you think that is something they're thinking about doing? Would you do it?
I mean, we need to evolve how we talk about these concepts sometimes, because it's like Browns are going to play man, they're going to play zone. No defense plays 100% the other. It's usually like a 40-60 mix, right? And some plays have man elements, some plays have zone elements, some plays have both in there. It's not this one or another thing, but we always bring it up as, will they play man or will they play zone? That's not the case anymore, right? This thing has evolved. Everybody plays a mix. That's what makes different defenses different. That's what makes it difficult, right? If it were all just flat cover 6, cover 2, cover 4, cover 3 out there, it would be pretty easy for elite quarterbacks to identify. You add in some elements like this, and Joe Woods does that. He does this frequently. Again, the criticism about the defense, man or zone, it's not going to matter if they don't communicate effectively, because whether you're in man or zone or both, it doesn't matter if you don't communicate, because you could bust the coverage in man and you could bust the coverage in zone. It don't matter, right? Like, if you're going to get beat, you can get beat. So that's what's important. You know, the man or zone thing, that's overblown. The defense is good. It's just when they don't communicate, they have these blown plays. So the fix for that isn't changing the entire defense over again and making a whole new line of communication. The fix is, hey, figuring out what is the breakdown in the line of communication? Because let's be honest here. They get the play call in on Fridays. They get the play call in on Saturdays with less resources, less technology than what they have on Sundays. So you got to figure out what is clogging up that line of communication, clean that clog. And let's be real, they've done this the last 2 years, right? We talked about this in 2020. We talked about this last year. Now we're talking about it again. So that's what they need to fix. The communication is everything. You know, whether they run man or zone is irrelevant to me. It doesn't matter to me whether they run man or zone. They can run both well. If they know they're running man or zone, or what defense they're in, or what coverage they're supposed to be, that's more important to me. And that's what's been the problem I've seen, is that they just don't know or are on the same page with each other.
So there's been a lot of fans that have been angry and calling for Joe Woods to be fired. I know you've addressed this on your show. What are your thoughts of that?
Yeah, defensive coordinators have it rough. Like defensive coordinators and DBs, like those are the two dudes that have it the roughest because like anything go wrong on the defense, man, it's Joe Woods' fault. And sometimes it is. This communication thing, I'm leaning towards this being a Joe Woods problem, right? And if this continues, and honestly, to me, this is the third year this has continued. Like, I don't know how much longer we can continue to go with this. He's a good defensive coordinator. I think he's a really good position coach. His concepts are strong. His play calling is strong. But this little thing right here, this is what gets people fired from defensive coordinator positions. So he needs to figure out, why does this keep happening? I mean, this is 3 years in a row, right? Like that this has happened. Something of this line has happened. So he needs to figure that out. But I don't think he's so bad that you have to fire him mid-season. I think if you want to replace Joe Woods, we're talking about at the end of the year. If this were schematic issues, I would be more inclined to think that. But this isn't schematic. This isn't about what the rules are. This doesn't look like a poorly coached defense when they are in the right play. It's just that they can't get the right play out.
Let's take a look at the highest graded Browns through 2 weeks of the season. Pro Football Focus. Top-ranked Brown, Myles Garrett. Owusu Koromoa, JOK, is second. Anthony Walker checks in at third. Jadeveon Clowney, who is not playing, fourth ranked, and then Nick Chubb. The thing that you notice there, and one of the things that's the reason they're 1-1, nobody from that secondary, and I think the secondary is extremely talented. But they have not graded out well for obvious reasons.
Yeah, Denzel Ward has been, I don't want to say disappointing, but, well, yeah, he's been disappointing, actually. That would be the perfect word. He's been disappointing. He hasn't been playing to his level. Mental errors, again, with him. I think Greg's been pretty good, and I think he hasn't really suffered as much in his role change, but I think Denzel, there's something going on there where he's not as focused as he's been in past years, because, again, it looks like mental errors that's really popping up with him more so than anything. So, you know, we need Denzel to step up. The secondary, there's always something between the boundary corners and the safeties is going wrong whenever one of these plays go wrong. Last time it was with Ronnie Harrison and Greg Newsome on that coverage bust. And then this week it's Grant Delpit and Denzel Ward. They got to get that line of communication fixed. They got to figure out what's going on there. And then I think they will start grading out better because they play well when they're in the defense. It's just they're not. They're making mental mistakes. It's taking them out of the defense.
So next-gen stats, quickest defenders off of the snap. And take a look. Myles Garrett, fastest off the snap ahead of Joey by a lot. I mean, that's a full tenth of a second. 0.12 seconds faster, and that will give you a pretty good idea of how difficult Myles Garrett is to handle.
Yeah, he's a load. I mean, he's a generational talent there. Sometimes you wish for more it's hard with Myles because when he flashes like a supernova, and nobody can be a supernova all the time. So people have this idea that he's inconsistent, and what he's actually doing his defense is a lot of stuff that's like dirty work, but he's really good. And again, generational player. Hopefully he gets his sack record tonight, the least the franchise one. But yeah, he's a legend in brown and orange.
All right, let's take a look at this graph. This is from Computer Cowboy. It will show each team's pass protection. So the x-axis is the PFF grade. The y-axis is the win rate. You see where the Browns are? The Steelers has actually been better. So the Steelers' offensive line, which that offense has not been clicking, has been pretty good in pass protection. Browns, a little bit of an area for improvement, although Jacoby Brissett has played pretty well.
Yeah, that's where I question some of these charts because I don't think Jacoby's been under pressure that much as people are saying he is. When I watch him, he looks like he's getting pretty clean pockets. And then when I watch Pittsburgh, I don't think that they're a good offensive line, right? Like, so, it's sometimes I always like to say this with stats, and this is just my opinion on it. So don't take this as gospel, but like with stats, sometimes it's like a Wikipedia page, right? You know, remember you in college writing papers? You can check Wikipedia to start, but you got to go to the bottom to the bibliography and start reading the articles that they're sourcing if you want to get actual information. on what's actually going on with that given subject. And football is no different. PFF grades are fun, DVOA grades are fun, win rate, all these things are fun, but you have to also evaluate what you see on tape too, because that's the bread and butter of any evaluation on football.
Quincy Carrier and I are going to step aside, take a quick timeout. We'll head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Also take a look at just how efficient the Browns offense has been with Jacoby Brissett. Sports4CLE, be right back. Stay with us.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
Maybe cliche, but there's no I in team. The only identity that matters is we. The collective effort to love thy neighbor is needed now more than ever. The responsibility behind pronouns such as I, me, and mine impact we, us, and ours. So understand that you make all the difference in the team. He, him, her, or she can't disturb our peace, since we control our destiny as student athletes. This is the power of pronouns.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine. Quincy Carrier and I continue talking Browns. Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about the Browns offense.
Dave, this is my opinion and solution for the 2022-2023 Cleveland Browns. On paper, the Cleveland Browns have an elite skilled roster and supposedly a very good X's and O coaching staff. What we do not have is a coach or player that has the extra it factor to get the best out of these elite players to play and fight as a team. So in my opinion, the closest thing we have to solve the solution is the combination of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Stefanski, open your eyes. Use the combos to their full potential. Together would be the best solution. If the running game is not working, the dump pass and the flat will show their true athletic skills. The effort they give is contagious to the whole team and will generate to the players to give their full effort and potential. With everyone finally playing as a team and not as individuals, we'll have a very successful rest of the season.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. Quincy, I think they're using Kareem and Nick Chubb quite a bit. I wouldn't use them any less. If you want to use them more, if it calls for it, okay.
Browns are second in the league in rushing attempts. You know what I mean? Like, there's the second in the league in rushing attempts. They scored an efficient clip. Why are we talking so much about the offense? They're one of the better units in NFL right now with Jacoby Brissett. They're not the problem right now. They score on 55% of their possessions. What Kevin Stefanski has done with this offense, I don't know how he's getting scorned. It's this is stuff that makes coaches. Like, this is what made Kyle Shanahan a genius to people, was when he was able to do stuff like this with Brian Hoyer. There's always going to be criticism about running the ball, because I believe some fans, like, running the ball isn't about how many times you run the ball. It's a feeling to them. Like, they want to feel like they run the ball a lot. Browns run the ball plenty. They've been in the top 10 in rushing attempts all years that Kevin Stefanski's been here. They've been top 5 2 of those 3 years. So, you know, I don't get why people act like he doesn't run the ball. Like, Freddie Kitchens ain't run the ball. Like, they were like 17th in rushing attempts or something like that year. Kevin run that ball, man. Like, I don't know why people act like he don't. He runs that ball.
All right, along those lines, this from the Ross Tucker podcast. Here is Joe Dolan just about the Browns offense and how efficient it is.
This is with Jacoby Brissett, by the way. The Browns have scored on 52.4% of their drives. That is tied with the Bills and the Chiefs for the most in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns. So Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are getting touchdown opportunities. Nick Chubb, by the way, is averaging more yards gained per play. Everybody's like, the old adage is this, that you throw to you throw to gut ahead and you run to seal the lead. Not in the Browns case, because when Jacoby Brissett throws on early downs, he averages 5.7 yards per attempt. When Nick Chubb gets a carry on early downs, he averages 6.3 yards per attempt. So it's actually more effective for the Browns in the early going to run on early downs than it is to throw. So Nick Chubb is awesome. The Browns offense, by the way, after a huge target share for Donovan Peoples-Jones in week 1, he didn't catch one in week 2. He only had one target in week 2, and Amari Cooper came out and had the big game. So he's on the wide receiver 3 radar for the Browns. But this has been a pretty efficient offensive attack thus far. The problem is the markets just do not believe that's going to continue in this game against Pittsburgh. They're expecting a slop fest on Thursday night.
And, maybe they get one, but those are all great things. And if you think about it, it's probably even more effective that they're scoring on 52% of their possessions because there's fewer possessions because they're eating the clock up.
Yep. And they're not getting turnovers a ton, right? They've gotten like 2 turnovers, I think, this whole year. 1 interception by Grant Delpit, and I believe a fumble recovery against the Jets this year. So they haven't gotten a ton of turnovers. I mean, there's teams like Pittsburgh who have 4 in one game, 15 possessions. They scored on like 3 of them or something ridiculously low like that, right? I continue to push this point. The Browns offense is not a bad offense. They're not. They were never going to be a bad offense. It's kind of been my point all summer. They'll be limited, but they're not going to be bad. And that's different than what they had last year where they were just bad, right? They're not bad this year. They're just limited. Are they going to be able to put up like 45 points? No. That's not the type of offense they are. But they're able to run the ball at such an efficient clip that they're one of the most efficient offenses in football. And the people have to understand, running the ball is so much more inefficient than passing it. So when you're able to be just as efficient running the ball as you are passing it, that speaks to Nick Chubb just having not just a good year, one of the best years a running back has ever had when you're able to do that, especially in this modern era. So yeah, what Kevin has done and been able to achieve with this offense, look, they're not going to be top 3 the whole 11-game stretch, right? Like, that's not going to continue. At some point, some team's going to slow down the run a little bit, and things will get figured out with Jacoby Brissett in terms of what defenses you really want to play against. And right now, everybody's married to this cover 1 against him. I don't think that works. So, yeah, I think things will change. But, I mean, we just wanted this offense to be hovering around 20. Right? Like 20 to 15. That was what we needed out this offense. They've been hovering so much higher than expectation. I mean, like at 3, that there's a lot of room there for regression or whatever you want whenever, they slow down a little bit. But, I mean, this is promising. And it's not like they played 2 bad defenses. I think the Jets are a decent defense, and I think the Panthers are a good defense, too.
Well, the thing that was impressive, this is from Pro Football Focus, and it's Jacoby Brissett's grade against the Jets last week, so Sunday. So an 83.2 PFF grade for Jacoby Brissett. That is the 3rd best among quarterbacks in week 2. So Jacoby Brissett got it done, and they still ended up. If Jacoby Brissett plays like that, you have to win. If he's among the top-graded quarterbacks, you got to win that game.
Yeah, that's Jacoby Brissett's highest graded game of his career, by the way. I charted all of his PFF grades throughout the year. He never got higher than, I believe, he got like an 88 that week. So I think he got 84 once in his career before that. So this is, again, the offense that Kevin Stefanski runs is very simple for a quarterback, and it works for quarterbacks. Also, he runs it so well and schemes it so well that he can get the best out of guys, and it's not a mistake that we're seeing the best out of Jacoby Brissett recently. And we saw the best out of Baker Mayfield when he was committed to this offense. All signs point to, when they listen to Kevin Stefanski, things go right on the offensive side of the ball. All things point to this being a really good – I have no idea what it was like to be around in 93 when Bill Belichick benched Bernie and everybody wanted him fired, but I have to feel like it's pretty similar because I feel like there's a lot of people who want to put stuff on Kevin Stefanski and run him out of town. And everything that I see tells me, this guy is really good at his job, like really, really good at his job. And he's not the type of coach you want to let go, because he's the type of guy that you're going to be looking at coaching a different team for 20 years and thinking, oh, yeah, we used to have him, just like we kind of try to forget we used to have Bill Belichick. I'm just saying, I wasn't there for that. But I would imagine it felt similar to this.
I was there for that. So, yeah, it was interesting. All right, let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. And, again, this one about the Browns play calling.
Yeah, Dave, this is Jerry from Avon, Indiana. I haven't heard this discussed anywhere before, but do you think that it's possible if Van Pelt was calling the plays and Stefanski was kind of overseeing the whole thing and not concentrating so much on what his next series of plays are going to be, if some of those decisions would have been made differently in the last couple of minutes of the game on Sunday? Enjoy your show. Thanks.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. By and large, I don't know how you feel, Quincy, so I don't want to put words in your mouth. I didn't think there was any real coaching issues. They were kind of player issues more so than anything that led to that collapse.
Yeah, and I think we have this ideal of football coaches from movies that I don't think is like realistic when you're talking about motivating grown adults, right? Like, I'm around the age of an average NFL player. I'm 27. You know, it's not going to make me upload videos faster if another grown man decides he's going to scream in my face about it. That's just not happening for me. Like, that's not going to do it for me. I don't know a lot of other grown men where that works for them for, right? And I would imagine most of the grown men saying this don't appreciate that kind of approach at their place of work. But we demand it in this place of work, knowing that we don't appreciate it, thinking that it's going to work for them. No, man, football players are no different. Some of them have heard so much screaming and yelling at this point that no screaming and yelling that they're going to hear at 28 years old is going to make any difference to them. What motivates a player is internal. They have to figure it out themselves. There is nothing Kevin Stefanski is going to say magically to them in the moment. This is not Friday Night Lights. This is not Every Given Sunday. This ain't Remember the Titans. We're not going to give a magical halftime speech and all of a sudden we're going to communicate better. No, they need to talk to each other internally, have something like a players only meeting where they discuss what's going on in this breakdown in communication and then implement solutions. That's how problems are solved amongst adults in the real world. What's not going to solve it if it's Kevin Stefanski decides to take off his headset in the middle of the game, stop doing his job, by the way, if he does that, and then decide to chew out everybody for giving up points and say, do better. And then he misses 3 play calls, and then they give up more points because of that. So that's not going to help them be better. What is going to help them be better, in my opinion, and it's my opinion, but I believe I'm right on this, but what is going to make them better is if they start to just communicate with each other. The players need to get the communication right with each other. That's what needs to happen. And you figure out what the breakdown is. Screaming at them in a moment, not going to fix the problem, man. Like, if your car breaks down, screaming at it is not going to fix your brakes, right? You got to get your brakes fixed. You got to calmly talk to somebody to get your brakes fixed. Problems don't get solved by screaming. They don't ever get solved by screaming. They usually just get worsened by screaming and temper tantrums and all that in the moment. That's why I believe in Kevin Stefanski as a leader, because if there's a problem there, he's not the guy who's going to rip it wide open and make it worse. He's the dude that's going to let it sit and then wait till you could put some Band-Aid and some Neosporin on it so it can heal, right? That's what you need. It's not what you want because we watch all these movies, but it's what you need. It is.
Quincy Carrier and I are going to step aside, take one more time out. We'll head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Sports4CLE, will be right back. Stay with us. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame celebrates the star athletes and notable sports figures who were born or have made their home in Greater Cleveland. It tells the story of discipline, commitment, perseverance, sportsmanship, and excellence in achievement. It encourages and inspires those who believe in sport and its direct impact on the well-being of our community. Go to clevelandsportshall.com or follow us on Twitter at GCLE Sports HOF for more details.
Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
I think the main thing that needs to happen with the Browns, and, there again, I'm not a GM or anything like that. It's just my opinion. But I think Kevin Stefanski needs to pay attention to what's going on. It seems like some of the best coaches in the league have an offensive coordinator, and they let them do their job. As things have played out, one of the best games we ever played was when Kevin was in the basement. In my opinion, a head coach has to be involved in all aspects of the game. He needs to watch what's going on. He needs to be thinking about situations. But I would really like to see Kevin go ahead and keep an eye on game planning, keep an eye on the coaches. Light a fire on some of them players' butts if they screw up. I'd like to see a little fire under my head coach. So go Browns. Hope you guys win every game from now on. That way I won't have any complaints. And go Browns. Woof. Beat them Steelers.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. Quincy, we kind of touched on this last segment. These guys are not only grown men, but grown men who in many cases are corporations. Screaming at them, isn't going to get a fire lit under them. Most of them are self-motivated. You can't hate your head coach, is about all I'll say.
Yeah, and I promise you Kevin's paying attention. I promise you he's doing his job on the sideline. You know what I mean? Like, I just if we're gonna have that criticism of a coach, I would like it to be with some evidence in which he's not doing that. And the evidence isn't, they blew a lead. That's not an evidence that he wasn't doing his job. You could do your job and that happens to you. Like if there were reports from players or unnamed sources that were saying that Kevin is lackadaisical in his job, similar to what happened with Bruce Arians at the end of his career, sure, this could be a topic of conversation. But the idea that Kevin's not paying attention on the sideline and not paying attention to the game plan and not involved in those aspects of the game is kind of a ridiculous one. I think we should be careful to make sure that we're not putting stuff out there like that, because it's not responsible to Kevin Stefanski to paint him in that way when he's done nothing to deserve being painted in that.
All right. Before we let you go, things we need to know about the Steelers. What do the Browns need to do to beat the Steelers?
Talk. That's what they need to do. They need to talk to each other, right? Steelers are not a good offense. They will only be as good as you allow them to be. This is a Steelers team that scored, 28 points, I believe. 28 points or 31 points or something like that on 30 possessions. They almost have more possessions than points. This is not a good offense. They go 3 and out like 60% of the time. They went a whole quarter down 3, didn't score a single point, didn't get a first down. This is a bad offense that you're playing. And they will only be as good as you allow them to be, and that's the Browns' challenge. Don't allow Pittsburgh to be great. If the offense for Pittsburgh looks great, it's because you're allowing them to be great. They played 2 games. They have not looked anywhere near close to good. They just haven't. So, again, that's on the Browns. Their ability to win this game is going to be about their run ability, which we feel pretty confident in, and the defense's ability to make sure that Pittsburgh looks like Pittsburgh, which is a bad offense. That's their goal, right? Don't let Pittsburgh look great against you, because it's the only way they can beat you.
pretty good defense. What do the Browns need to do offensively? First and foremost, take care of the ball. This is a defense that did turn Joe Burrow over 5 times. Now, when they did that, 4 interceptions and a fumble, they needed to go to overtime to win. They were +5 in the turnover and still only won by 3 in overtime.
And Joe Burrow a bit more turnover prone than people talk about. But, it's one of those things where, hey, look, you want to be able to win that battle outside zone, be able to pull David Njoku and win that battle, make sure that Miles Jack doesn't blow up plays there for you. If you're able to win those battles, get to the edge and wear down Pittsburgh, you'll be able to win this game. I mean, we're talking about a team that, the bar for this game should be at 20 points. If the Browns get over 20 points, they should win this game. So we're talking about a run-heavy scheme. We're talking about fourth quarter emphasis. You want to wear them down late in the game and pick and choose your spots. Obviously, you don't want to get behind the stakes. Obviously, you don't want to turn the ball over. But winning that battle when you run outside zone is going to be the most important thing, because if you win that, everything else is going to open up. And they don't have T.J. Watt out there, who's one of the most stout edge setters in football. If he's not out there, how are they going to be able to set the edge? Are they going to be able to set it at the same level? If not, run it over, right? Run it over into submission. Make Minka Fitzpatrick not matter in this game because you're running the ball. I want Minka Fitzpatrick to lead the Steelers in tackles, because that tells me that we're getting to the secondary consistently with the running game. That's what I want the Browns to force out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, is for a free safety to lead them in tackles.
Quincy Carrier, as always, great stuff. Appreciate the time and the insight. Thanks very much, Quincy.
No problem. You have a great day.
All right, Quincy Carrier, make sure you search him. YouTube has his own show. It's really good stuff. We're going to step aside, take a quick time out. Brad Ward from BrownsWire.com, the All Eyez on Cleveland podcast. We continue talking Browns as they get ready to face the Steelers.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
I am powerful beyond my wildest imagination.
I will define my future.
I will keep challenging myself to improve.
Because I am a future leader of this great nation.
I will be responsible for raising a beautiful family.
And educating not only my generation, but many more to come.
I will make a difference in my community.
And I will stand up for what I believe in.
I will not settle for simply chasing my dreams. I will achieve them.
Because I was given a chance.
An opportunity.
A home.
At Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
The ultimate leadership experience.
FCCLA has been one of the greatest experiences of my life.
It's made me who I am today.
Join us. We'll build a new future together.
Browns getting ready for the Steelers in a couple hours over at First Energy Stadium. Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about the defense.
I've been a Browns fan for like 25 years now, if not longer, back in Kozar days. Where's our true Brown defense? Where's the dog pound defense? Our defense been playing too soft-footed for a dog pound defense. If we get a dog pound defense with our offense, we could win a couple Super Bowls. That would be a dream come true for us Browns fans. That's something we really need. We need a true dog pound defense. Can we get that to happen? Joe Woods is not the man.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. Let's welcome in Brad Ward, BrownsWire.com, All Eyez on Cleveland podcast. Your thoughts there, Brad? Obviously having a little bit of trouble with Brad. let's see, Brad, what do you think of that then? Defense too soft, Joe Woods? Oh, again, we're having a little bit of issues. All right. My thoughts are, at some point in time, the players do have to play. Would I like the Browns' defense to be a little more aggressive? Perhaps. The challenge with that, though, is if you're having communication issues, you almost have to be a little bit less exotic, and y'all have to be on the same page, so you can't be quite as aggressive and all out as you might want when you are dealing with that sort of issue. All right, we're going to step aside, take a quick timeout, other side of the break. We'll see if we can get Brad Ward rolling here. Browns getting ready to face the Steelers at First Energy Stadium on a special Thursday night game. Sports for CLE. Be right back. Stay with us.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
Maybe cliche, but there's no I in team. The only identity that matters is we. The collective effort to love thy neighbor is needed now more than ever. The responsibility behind pronouns such as I, me, and mine impact we, us, and ours. So understand that you make all the difference in the team. He, him, her, or she can't disturb our peace, since we control our destiny as student athletes. This is the power of pronouns.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery, Partners in Education, where stars shine. We continue talking Browns. Let's take a look at this tweet from Greg Allman. It is sack differential. So the leaders in all of the NFL sack differential, the Buccaneers at +7. That means they have sacked their opponents 7 more times than they've been sacked. Bills are second at +6. Chargers third, +5. Then the Browns are in there with the Jaguars, Chiefs, Vikings, and Patriots at +4. The Steelers are at +3. Let's welcome in Brad Ward from the All Eyez on Cleveland podcast. Brad, Browns lines are getting it done. Problem has been in the secondary.
It has been. These differentials are interesting. It becomes really interesting tonight, too. So you bring Jack Conklin back, right? After Hudson has played pretty well. So that'll be interesting to see how he comes back, how he holds up over there. And then, one thing that we did, although it was on the secondary, the pass rush did disappear in the second half after Clowney went out. So last week. So that's something to keep an eye on. How does Alex Wright play tonight? And I would like to think that Joe Woods has a couple blitzes dialed up if necessary, if they're going to need to create some pressure, because they weren't able to do it in the second half last week. So so far so good as far as the line of scrimmage goes, but a little bit different here tonight with no Clowney and Conklin making his debut for sure.
Yeah, without question. So Nick Chubb is the first player with 200-plus yards rushing and 3-plus rush touchdowns through 2 games since Jim Brown did it in 1963. First Browns player, 200-plus and 3 rushing touchdowns through 2 games. And Nick, you mentioned him in the same breath as Jim Brown. I think that might be one of the guys that plays in the modern era that Jim Brown would smile to be mentioned in the same breath with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're getting right now probably the best Nick Chubb we've ever seen, right? This guy's 227 pounds, and I've never seen anybody his size move the way he has so far this season. Like, he looks and appears to be stronger than he's ever been. He looks to be lighter than he's ever been on his feet. So really riding Nick Chubb this season, I think you're getting his prime years right now. He looks excellent, better than ever. So I think 80 yards tonight. He passes Kevin Mack to become 5th all-time Browns rusher too, as well. I'm gonna keep an eye out.
I would, and again, this will be the best defense that the Browns have faced, but I would think 80 is well within what he will do. All right, we're going to head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Viewers predicting what they think will happen tonight. Browns-Steelers, Thursday Night Football.
Hey, Tony from Pueblo, Colorado. Just want to say that my prediction for this game for Pittsburgh is 24-17, Cleveland, and I think they're going to recoup themselves.
Dan from Youngstown. Keep pounding the rock with Chubb and Hunt, screens with them, and Njoku. Amari is one of the best route runners in the NFL. Brinson is smart. And as far as the D goes, don't get sealed DNs and let Trubisky run. And JOK, Delpit, Harrison, Newsom, Johnson, Taki, Phillips. Come on, Joe Woods. Send them on some blitzes so we can get some turnovers. And we win 24-10. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, guys. The Browns will bounce back this week after getting an early season wake-up call, and I mean a big one at that. With huge help from the 12th man, our revitalized defense will pressure Mitchell Trubisky, blanket his receivers, and overpower that shaky O-line, also keeping a linebacker as a spy on Trubisky to slow down his scrambling ability. On offense, looking for us to pass the football to set up the run early. Tight end David Njoku has to make an impact in the passing game. And, of course, against the Steelers, you have to win a turnover battle and stay ahead of the sticks to slow down their blitz attack, not to mention their tough physical play. Looking for a 23-13 score and a win for the Browns as we stay in first place in this winnable division. Go Browns! Woof!
Yeah, this is Ron from down here in Clayton again. My prediction, I think the Browns will win it 2017.
My name's Brian, calling from Hilliard, Ohio. Love the show, so I'm going to say the Browns win a tight one. We'll say 31-27. Jacoby will have a good game. We'll just wear them down with the run game. Our defense will get after Mitch. They'll still put up some points, but the Browns win 31-27. Go Browns.
Dave, tonight on the big screen with all football fans watching, I believe the Cleveland Browns will have that key turnaround game where they will finally believe in themselves and play as a team and show all the NFL that can be one of the elite teams and not a joke and play a total team game and come away with a 24-10 victory.
This is Steve Lannon. Just want to do a prediction for Thursday night. I think the Steelers, as they usually do, will stop most of the Browns' running game. Look for probably 3 field goals, 16-14 Browns. Thanks.
As always, appreciate it. So, your thoughts on this game, Brad Ward? What do you see happening?
Yeah, so this is all about, for me, like, mental toughness, and the analytics and PFF people are going to hate this, right? They're going to hate that. And that's okay. But this is like, and the first question that you mentioned tonight about them being soft, I don't think they're physically soft, but I was concerned this week with some of the stuff that went on in the media, the finger pointing, Myles Garrett's comments about the fans. Those things came across to me, Dave, as a little soft. And I think, the players only meeting and whatnot, like, if any of this stuff lingers onto the field, that's a problem. Like, it can't be. They have to go out there with the same swagger they always have, the same confidence they've always had. They cannot have any thought in the world about what has happened last 4 days ago, right? So I like them to win tonight, 24-10. I like whoever said that in there. I like that. I think the defense does play well. It's going to be interesting, though. I do think that the offense looks good. I think they ride Nick Chubb. And the main thing here is going to be just, I think, a fast start. The Steelers are coming off a rough week as well. Like, it would be easy for either team to kind of spiral with a bad start in this game, I think. So I think the start of the game will be really key here.
Yeah, and people who watch this show know I always talk about you got to take care of the football. You have to win the turnover battle, especially against the Steelers. Take a look at this. As far as turnover margin in the NFL goes, the Steelers are second. They're +4 behind Jacksonville, of all teams, at +5. Now, they had 4 interceptions, and they forced Joe Burrow to fumble as well. So they had 5 turnovers in their one win in overtime against Bengals and won by 3. Browns are +1. They have they had 2 turnovers, and they turned it over once at the end of that Jets game. I think as long as they don't lose the turnover battle, the Browns win this game, and I think they will. I also think the defense, I hope, and I think they have heard enough, the problems. I think the defense comes out and plays well. Something along the lines of 21-10 is what I'm thinking. And again, what do you see as a key for the Browns to come away with a win?
I think along with a fast start and putting this behind them, which is kind of in each of their individual brains, right? So that's kind of hard to equate. But the Steelers are smart and they're well coached, right? And they're going to stress this rules-based cover 3, Seattle cover 3 that the Browns run a lot, right? They're going to stress the rules of that and put guys in that secondary in positions where they have to make quick decisions, right? Because that's been the problem, right? And if they've watched any tape at all and they know the narrative, then they're going to want to create those. They're going to run the beaters that make these guys make their decisions about their area of the field quickly and hope that they blow a coverage here or there. And what the Browns can do to eliminate the best thing they can do to eliminate that, besides communicating in the obvious and putting all those issues to rest, is get pressure on Trubisky, because he's not a great deep ball thrower. They have been outspoken about their not liking Matt Canada's offense. It hasn't pushed the ball down the field. So they tried to do that tonight. They're out of their element a little bit. I think if you can put some pressure on them, you turn them over. As far as the turnover and the thing you were talking about, if the Browns turn over the ball, that's how you lose this game. If you play a sound game, you are much more talented and you should win.
Yeah,
but I think that's a huge key as far as the defense goes.
I agree wholeheartedly. And there's a lot of talk in Pittsburgh that they want the rookie, Kenny Pickett, and they're unhappy with Mitchell Trubisky, the local guy from Menor. But, yeah, he was grilled about pushing the ball downfield more. So, again, if you're the Browns and you can force that, there's probably some turnovers to be had.
I agree. Yeah, he hasn't been great, and that's totally out of his element at this point. That's not what their offense has been up to, and that's the narrative over there, right? Like, get these talented wide receivers the ball. So certainly some opportunities, and so in that regard, got to be opportunistic back there. In the secondary, the linebackers' play has been great so far. I would keep Anthony Walker on the field more. I don't know what they're doing. It's not the preseason anymore. I've seen enough of the Jacob Phillips experiment, right? Like, I'm cool. Leave Walker out there and JOK out there. They've been fantastic. So I think turnovers, yeah, I mean, so huge, and so we say it every week, but in this one more than ever, right? Because what the Steelers want to do is put the Browns in those kind of situations, and Minka Fitzpatrick is playing with his hair on fire and an absolute ball hawk. So he has been terrific in 2 weeks. So know where he is. Don't do too much on offense. I don't think you have to go crazy here to win this game. I think if you score 20, 21 points, you'll be fine.
Brad Ward, as always, appreciate the time and the insight. Thanks very much, Brad.
Thank you, Dave.
Have a good one. Brad Ward, make sure you check him out. All Eyez on Cleveland podcast, as well as brownswire.com. All right, before we go, we got one more voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about the baseball team here in Cleveland.
Hi, Dave. It's been a while since I got a chance to see you guys. But when I was looking, all I could seem to hear was the Browns. And I think maybe we might be sleeping on one of the most exciting things to take place, and that is the Cleveland Guardians. I hate the name Guardians, but I love the fact that this team is exciting, it's gritty, it just plays great ball. And I wanted to give a shout-out to the Cleveland Guardians, which I happen to think is the absolute best AAA team in Major League Baseball.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. Voicemail us about the Guardians. We'll talk Guardians baseball anytime you want. Closing in on the American League Central Division. Have a lot of young guys. They are fun to watch. You guys want to talk about them? Get on the voicemail. Let us know. We will certainly talk Guardians baseball. That's going to do it for this edition of Sports for CLE. We will be back here tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Talking Browns, Steelers, plenty of wrap-up on tonight's game. That's tomorrow at 4. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow at 4 on Sports for CLE.